So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to actually become very wealthy in your life. And it's really not as hard as you think it's going to be. And you'd be surprised in how actually easy it is and how little that you have to worry about it. And so if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslach. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for to help you out. So you could check out, please go on to the reciprocity platform. The E is written with a 3. Buy some credits. I'd super appreciate it. Get some feedback on your work. That's why I created it. And we've got all sorts of other different resources available. So go check it out. Go check out the blog and stuff. All right. So how do you get really wealthy in this world? And a lot of you probably think, oh, this guy is building this software platform, so he's going to get really wealthy. I'm going to tell you this right now. No, it's far from that. That's not where wealth is actually built. You might be thinking, oh, you get cryptocurrency or whatever. No, that's not what you do. And in fact, those are very risky. And those people that actually invested, quote unquote, invested in those things are taking an enormous risk that they could have lost it all. And we don't know. So what ends up happening is that those folks will tell you that, hey, this was the best investment ever. But at the time, you don't know whether it's going to happen, right? You just can completely disappear. So I'd highly recommend for you not to do that and to do things that are less risky and sort of tried and true, and you just keep doing those day in and day out. So the very first thing that you really need to do is pay off those debts that you have and pay them off as quick as possible. So you have to live really, really below your means to actually pay those things off. Then after that, you have to work towards bigger goals in this world. So what are these bigger goals? So for everybody, most people, including myself, it's really just pretty simple stuff, right? Like I'm saving for a retirement. We are saving for right now a car for myself. We're saving for maybe to get a pool in the backyard, which sounds really fun and exciting. We're just like doing basic things like that I think are very important. But you have to save for them, because anything above, that's above like your kind of day-to-day stuff is all pretty fancy, and it's not really something that you should that you should sort of leverage to get there, right? I think this idea of leverage and like getting debt and stuff like that is a huge misnomer, and you make so many mistakes when you get debt. In so many different ways, and instead you should do things pretty slowly. It's going to feel slow, but it's going to be very quick once you get there, and it's going to be a lot more conservative, but it's going to be very, very helpful for you. So what you need to do is sort of do a successive orders of accounts, I think. So this is what our family does. And we've picked this up from many different sources of sort of personal finance and stuff like that. And you might have seen some of these themes in other places, but this is really important for us, and it's very helpful. And we've done very well from doing this. In most of our, what we've done, most of it's actually through sort of, personal wealth accumulation or whatever you want to say. It's mostly through doing this. The first thing is obviously paying off those debts, but then having like a general checking account where you've got like, say, I don't know, $3,000 to $5,000 in that general checking account. And that is kind of more of like smoothing what happens from a month-to-month basis. Because there's moments where you're like, all of a sudden, you got to pay a bunch of stuff, and then you don't pay a bunch of stuff. So always having some money in that checking account is really important. That is something that it took me like a decade to learn this. So it's really important to have sort of a float. Basically, it's a float in that checking account where you're sort of smoothing out what's going on day-to-day basis. Then the next thing is having an emergency fund for things that might happen in the next 5 years that you just can't anticipate happening at this moment, right? So somebody dies, your house, a tree lands on your house, and you need money instantly to pay for some of those things. And that's going to happen. These things happen because that's life, right? All of those kind of things happen. You need to take an emergency trip to a hospital someplace. Well, that's why you have it. And so what you would have is, a lot more than what you'd have in your checking account. I would say, imagine it to be probably about 10 times what you'd have in your checking account. Like some rough number that if everything, and I think it's like, 3 to 6 months of your expenses, or what you can live off of. That's a lot. That's pretty conservative, but having having at least $10,000 for anybody, that should be really, really important for you to have as a goal to save up for that emergency fund. So if something happens, you can live off of that, right? So you break your leg and you can't work. You break your arms and you can't work, or whatever, you can live off of that for a few months. And that is going to be, that's what you need. That's what you're thinking about, is those emergencies. So the third thing that is so super important for us, and this is where all of our wealth is being built, is we aim for about, so you can aim from 10 to 20% of all the money that you ever bring in. So we hover around that. We try to sort of maintain about 15%, but sometimes it's more, sometimes a little bit less. Of whatever we bring in, we're just investing it in basic mutual funds. So you're really steady, really basic mutual funds and index funds. That's it. That's all you need to do. In fact, you could just do a giant index fund, which is just a collection of all the firms on the stock market. And so you could just do that and just invest it, and you're gonna grow pretty well. There's a lot of research at this moment that says that is the best possible route for what you can do. And buying real estate, crypto, and all that kind of stuff, that's all really risky stuff. And those companies are well managed. If they see that there's an opportunity someplace, if Ford sees an opportunity that they should invest in crypto, they're going to do that. And so by doing that anyways, they're going to be investing in all those kind of things, and you don't have to worry about it. And then the last thing, and this has been very important, the last sort of account to have is like a bridging or fund money account that you have available, that you're just accumulating for things that are fun in your life that you can probably do over the next 5 years or whatever, right? So for us, it's buying a new car. For me, it is getting a pool for our family, right? Like those are really fun things that you don't really need, but they're fun to save for. And we've sort of done this throughout our life, and it's very helpful. And you can, as you get longer in your career or what you're doing, it gets easier to do these things. So initially it's really hard, but it gets easier and easier and easier to do these things. So what I want you to sort of imagine, this is a lot of kind of like, goal setting and all that kind of stuff. But really it's just, living a day-to-day life that you enjoy and have fun, and really do things that are really good and fun, and that you can live a life that you would really want to live by doing these very simple things. So hopefully this helps you out. And as you do this, trust me, as you do this, as your salary increases, as you start saving these things and you get interest. So, whatever, there's a rule of 7 in the stock market, right? In the index funds. So every 7 years, your money is going to double. So if you got $10,000 in there that you've saved and you're investing in a stock market, it's going to be 20 in 7 years. And that really goes quick. And it's amazing. It's just a really wonderful thing to see this. So just keep doing that day in and day out, and you're going to accumulate a lot of wealth. And I know that a lot of you are probably skeptical of this, but it is very much this sort of day-to-day grind. And in the short term, it's pushing off things in the short term, but saving for bigger things in the long term, and doing that repeatedly is going to be very helpful for you. So with that, give me a thumbs up to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.